Hey team, this is the chapter 7 video case on someone who I deeply despise, Ruby Franke. We're going to be talking about social process theory, how peers affect us, and other stuff in that realm. Ruby Franke worked with Jody Hildebrandt, and Jody Hildebrandt was a licensed therapist, but then she had her license revoked for 18 months, and I don't think she ever got it back. What did happen though is she still continued practicing therapy. How, I don't know. She had her own practice with different therapists, and a lot of those therapists seemed to actually care for their patients, but Jody just wanted to use her patients for her own gain. From what I understand, anytime they would get a more rich patient, she would tell her colleagues, like, oh, we got to take care of this one, so they can use him financially in the future if they had a position of power. And so Ruby and Jody started working together, and Jody's teachings with her thing called Connections, where she had men's groups, women's groups, big group gatherings, and she taught them something. And whatever Jody said went. It wasn't supposed to be questioned because she's the one with the degree, right? And that does make sense, but in hindsight, not the greatest idea. Does sound kind of like a cult. But here we are. So Jody, one of the things, she was like screaming at the camera, and she's like, your children are not entitled to privacy, da-da-da-da. And then a few weeks later, Ruby was parodying the same thing, screaming into the camera. Your children do not deserve privacy, no matter how old they are. And privacy is actually really important, and it can relate to other things that you might not immediately think of, like a child's room, knocking before you go in, or letting them have their own space. When you treat their room as sacred and as it's theirs and theirs to take care of and theirs to live in, if you violate that and they view that room as theirs, if you violate something that's theirs, they're going to be taught that it's okay for other people to violate their things, whether that be something like sexual or psychological or something like that. So it sounds like a very trivial thing, but it's a very important thing to teach kids, that privacy is something that kids need and you need for the rest of your life. In the documentary, Chad was beat by which parent, we don't know. It doesn't really matter. And Sherry helped clean the blood off the walls. So there was a lot of abuse within the home, more physical with Chad, the oldest son, and more psychological with Sherry, the oldest daughter. Jody had injured the youngest children enough for it to be basically considered child torture. And she actually just appealed for parole and not parole. She appealed because she didn't want to be in prison anymore. She didn't like her consequences. So that's what's going on with her. But yeah, it's a lot of like really gruesome stuff that she did to the kids in the name of the Bible, saying that they were snakes and that they're the devil, and that they're not like following the word of God, and they're being greedy. And in fact, they were greedy enough that they didn't get presents for Christmas one year because they were being too greedy, and they got cold, literal cold. And their eldest son and daughter got presents, but the youngest didn't. And they have 4 younger children. So it's very methodical with what she does. And when you are enforcing a religion and religious consequences on these children, it can teach them, or subconsciously teach them, things that you don't really want implemented into them. So it's like, oh, I'm a bad person. These people are allowed to hurt me because they think I'm a bad person. that will translate into their relationships. It's not an if, it's a will, unless they get help. So it's it hurts in the moment and it hurts in the future, is how abuse works.